Hello, everybody. Okay, let's just get my notes up. Okay, so this is from the other day when technology got the best of me and I was not able to go live on Wednesday. So here we are. And this talk is about how to lose fat by balancing your blood sugar. So there's a huge connection between the two. And sometimes we don't understand this because we're so focused on other things with regard to our food, etc. But if you have not been here before, my name is Tiffany, and I'm a board certified and licensed nutritionist. I came to functional nutrition, meaning nutrition that will help you overcome your health symptoms by looking at the root causes of them. And I have come to this myself because I had struggled with an undiagnosed thyroid condition for many, many years and was not getting the support and help that I needed. And so I just did kind of what everybody else does with nutrition. I tried to reduce calories, I tried to exercise more, and I never felt better. And then I eventually was diagnosed with cancer, thyroid cancer, and thought that maybe since I would have that removed and I would get medications to manage my thyroid, that all would be better and I would start to feel amazing. And I didn't. I felt worse and I did not get the help I needed. So I decided I was going to dig into the nutrition, dig into the research at that root cause level. And it worked for me in really short order comparatively to how bad I had felt for how long. And then I was able to help myself. And now this is why I'm here to help other people do the same thing, even if they had a different health condition. So that is what this is all about. Okay. So, if you are watching the replay, make sure you comment that. If you are watching it currently, or if you've seen me before, make sure you comment below that as well. If you're new here, let us know. And I'm just here to help and support because this is something that people really struggle with. And we're getting so much information out there on social media, and sometimes it's not always helpful. Sometimes people are only trying to sell products. Some people are not really trained or educated in people's diagnoses and know how to give nutrition advice with those situations, any kind of health symptoms that people have. So it's really, really important to understand that it's not usually a one size fits all. There are a lot of things that can help people no matter what, but to actually correct people's issues, you need to have, the right person helping you out. And so this is why I am here. And this is why I think it is so important for us to learn about balancing our blood sugar, especially for trying to lose fat. And everybody maybe will say, I'm just trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to lose weight. But what are we trying to lose? When we say we want to lose weight, we're talking about fat. Okay. So, and if you haven't really thought of it that way before, you should start thinking of it just like that. We need to lose fat, not just the weight. Okay. So I wasn't always, as able to talk about this stuff because I was in my own depths. Like I had said, I was just in my own struggles dealing with all kinds of energy issues, depression, anxiety, this weird thing where I hadn't had a weight problem before. And then all of a sudden I did, and there's nothing I could do. I was doing everything right. And when they would check things like my blood sugar, it always came back normal. And so I felt like it was impossible. There's nothing I could do. But that's part of the problem when we are talking about some of these things, because we stay in the struggle because we're not given all the information. We're just not. So here's the things I'd like to ask you. If you are here listening or if you're on the replay, I want you to see if you have ever been able to dig in to all of your blood sugar numbers. And when I talk about blood sugar, I mean glucose. Have you had any other testing on your labs besides fasting glucose? If you're a type 2 diabetic, if you're a type 1 diabetic, if you have PCOS, If you have a thyroid condition diagnosed, potentially you've had more than the blood glucose level tested. But if you have, let me know if you've actually had that done. Because if you haven't, that is where the problem lies. You need to know all of your numbers, just like when we talk about thyroid numbers, you need to know your blood sugar numbers as well. The other thing we hear about is that in order to lose the weight, i.e., the fat, we just need to reduce our calories. That it's all about calories in, calories out, that's all that matters. Okay, so if you are in that mindset and if you've been doing that over the years, you probably have also a dysfunctional metabolism that is not helping you lose the fat now. So we need to rebuild that up as well. So that's part of the problem. And then the other thing is, the other problem I hear people talk about, and I know I have felt this before as well, is, you just kind of give up. You lose hope because you've done all the things that you think you're supposed to do, that you've been told that will change everything for you. You have purchased products, you've purchased programs, you've done all of these things, and it actually doesn't make a difference. And it's probably because they're not getting into all the nitty gritty and the details for your specific condition, or they're trying to apply, mass recommendations for everybody, all ages, all hormone levels, all health conditions. And it usually does not work that way. So if you are here because you're struggling to lose the fat that you'd like to lose, or to reconfigure your body composition, if you are someone who struggles with energy issues, this is who this is for. And for those people that are willing to learn about the details that can actually help you move to the next level of your health in this, within this topic, who it's not for. Just like anything I do in here, it is not for people looking for the next, latest, and greatest quick fix. If you are looking for a magic potion, pill, protein shake, or whatever for fixing this problem, that's going to be the end all be all, this is not for you. If you are someone who's actually willing to listen and to learn and to take action, this is where you're going to want to be involved and really take stock of what's going on with your health. All right, so I'm going to pull up some other notes here and talk about a few things that can help us with losing fat by balancing our blood sugar. All right, so there's a connection between your inability to lose weight or weight loss resistance, i.e. the fat, with dysfunctional blood sugar. Okay, so if you understand how blood sugar and insulin system works in your body, then this will make more sense. And if you don't, I'm going to explain it quickly here. So when we eat a carbohydrate that converts into glucose into our body, so all carbohydrates turn into glucose, which is the sugar or our blood sugar. When that happens and we have an elevated level of blood sugar in our bloodstream, our pancreas sends out insulin. The pancreas is signaled to send out the insulin. So the insulin level rises to go out into the bloodstream to shuttle that sugar into the cells of the body to fuel your body with whatever it needs to do. Wherever there is a need for energy, that's where it'll go. If you are constantly spiking your blood sugar and then which causes a spike in insulin, and you are constantly taking in that kind of sugar in the form of whatever types of carbohydrates, usually the unhealthy kind, that pattern on a constant level eventually can sort of shut down that process and we become insulin resistant. The higher our insulin levels go, the higher our the higher our blood sugar levels go, the higher our insulin levels go, and the more likely and the easier it becomes to increase fat storage. So, which is not what we want, which is why we are here. So if you have elevation of those things, then you are going to more easily store fat on your body. And that is the hard part, because you might be thinking, you might be tracking your calories, you might be reducing your calories, you might work out like a crazy person at the gym, and you might still not be able to lose that belly fat or whatever it might be. And on top of it, if you are getting into the age where the hormonal changes start to fluctuate, you're going to store fat in different places. And it's not usually where people like to have fat stored. Usually it's around the middle section, that like the belly fat area. That can be exacerbated once we get into hormonal change time frame in our lives, and we're not maybe doing the best things for us with stress management. Okay, so that's like a whole another talk we can talk about at another time. So what we need to do is try to mitigate the blood sugar spikes, which will lower the insulin response. And then our bodies can just be fueled in a more level way. And then we can be allowed to release the fat from our body. That's what it takes. Now, in addition to that, there are different nutrients that are specific to helping with this blood sugar and insulin response. The first one is chromium. You probably heard of this. Personally, it's in a variety of foods, but there's some foods that I don't personally like and won't eat that you can find it in, but in mussels and shellfish in general are really good sources of chromium. I do not eat that. If that's you, you're probably getting good levels of chromium, but it helps that insulin and blood sugar process. You can also get it in broccoli, okay? Most vegetables have some kind of chromium in it, but broccoli and green beans and even things like potatoes will have good levels of chromium. So if you're incorporating those things, that should help. Also meats, Brazil nuts and things like that have good levels of chromium. There's another nutrient that is associated with blood sugar and the management of that, and that's going to be alpha lipoic acid. You probably have not heard of that, but again, it overlaps with some of the foods you can find it in with the chromium, and that's going to be broccoli, some of the meats and the organ meats. Actually, if you like liver and kidney and that kind of thing, a lot of people don't like that either. Peas, tomatoes, and spinach, red meat, those kinds of things will help with this whole blood sugar and insulin process. And if you are someone who has any kind of neuropathy, or some people with type 2 diabetes that has neuropathy, they might have a deficiency in this alpha lipoic acid. All right, so there's a couple of supplements too that are really helpful. I can post them here too. It's called berberine, and the therapeutic dose of berberine for bringing down blood sugar and insulin is 1,200 milligrams, but it can cause some tummy upset. So if you decide to start that, you'd want to titrate your dose up to the 1,200 milligrams so you're not getting too much too fast. It could cause, some digestive upset. And so you just want to be careful with that. But once you get up to that full level, it starts to bring those levels down really nicely, the blood sugar and insulin down. And, you would have to just be careful if you're taking other things like metformin for blood sugar and insulin. That actually works in conjunction with it too, but you just don't want to get everything too low too. That's usually doesn't happen when people are taken in the right way. But that's something that can be really, really helpful for improving those levels. So I'll put those in the comments. Let's see here. I might have to do this after, but there's a link for it. And then the two products are called Berberine Evail and Berberine Synergy. And the Synergy has the alpha lipoic acid in it as well. So there is the letters that you can search in order to get those products. And you can just pick one or the other. You don't have to do both necessarily. But they are both super helpful for improving the blood sugar and insulin process down. Okay, so there is that. Then the other thing we can do to help mitigate blood sugar so that we don't store fat quite as easily is making sure we have the right numbers. So you are going to want to ask at your doctor's office your A1C, and you're going to want that to be under 5.1%. Then there is your fasting glucose. That is done on pretty much any test. And you want that to be between, say, 80 to 85. something like that. That should be your normal fasting blood glucose level. And then your fasting insulin level, which is something they don't typically do on a standard lab panel. You'd have to ask for it. You want it to be under 8. 6 would be better. And I'm putting that there, and you can take a look at that. So go and find your numbers to see if you are under those levels. And if you're not, that could be a sign that your body is just actually very efficient at storing fat in your cells. So until you correct those things, it's going to be a little more difficult to lose any kind of fat. All right, so then the next thing is how to actually eat for balanced blood sugar. The first thing you need to do, and I've talked about this in other trainings as well, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you are getting enough protein. So the recommendation for protein intake is a minimum of 100 grams per day, minimum of protein in your system. So that will help you maintain skeletal muscle. It won't necessarily help you build muscle, but it'll help you actually maintain what you have. So you need 100 grams minimum of protein per day. Ideally, you would start there. If you're not to 100 grams, you would start with where you're at, build to 100 grams, then go to your ideal lean body weight recommendation. So if your ideal body weight is 120 pounds, then your gram intake of protein should be 120 grams of protein. So essentially that means the recommendation is 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. So let's say you're 150 pounds now, but you really need to be, or you feel best at 120 pounds, then that is what we're going to focus on. Okay, but the point is start where you're at and work from there. But with that, you always need to include proteins, fats, and carbs with every meal. Now, the types of carbs that you should be eating should be more like veggie carbs, and some starchy carbs. Starchy veggies would be ideal versus starchy things like rice and other grains, because if you are in this condition, if you have dysregulated blood sugar, if you have high insulin, high A1C, then you want to focus on the vegetable portion of it for carbs. And then obviously reduce or remove the intake of processed carbohydrates, candies, cookies, processed, like donuts and things that you get from grocery stores and the commercial baked goods, that type of thing. You want to remove those from the diet. I know that that's easier said than done, but you need to work towards that. Try to remove just one thing at a time and just make it sort of a, part of your day so that you can learn to improve. Start where you're at and build from there. So you're going to have the protein as a start. Eat your protein first. Then you're going to take your plate of protein and you're going to decide what is your carbohydrate going to be around there. Maybe it is a bunch of roasted vegetables. Maybe it's a bunch of steamed vegetables, things like that. Make sure you add good healthy fats, whether it's butter, ghee, olive oil, salad dressings, hopefully made from home, or buying better quality salad dressings, and making sure that that fat is a good level so that you can absorb the nutrients from those vegetables, and that help you assimilate the nutrients a lot better if you do it that way. And that will help also with your satiety, because if you're starting with protein and then you get the vegetables in there to make sure you're getting the good micronutrients, that's the vitamins and minerals and the amino acids, that will help you, and the antioxidants, that will help you feel better and get your body into your cells the nutrients that you need. And then that fat will help with that absorption of it. And that will also help that satiety, your ability to not feel like you need to reach for snacks, go to the vending machine, go to the candy drawer, walk to the pantry, open the fridge and stand there looking for something. That's the beauty of the protein, is that until you get your protein needs met, until you reach that threshold each day of your protein, your body, your mind, your whatever will still be looking for foods until you can fill the nutrient need for that. So the protein first, protein forward thinking is huge for fat loss. And when you have the right amount of protein and you're balancing your blood sugar, so instead of the roller coaster of blood sugar from eating a high carb standard American breakfast of cereal, skim milk, orange juice, things like that. There's really no protein in any of that. And when you spike your blood sugar in the morning, eating something like that, it comes way up and then it crashes. And then you look for something else and it brings it back up and then it crashes. You do that all day long. No wonder you feel tired, you feel sluggish, you don't sleep well at night, you can have headaches, you can have all kinds of dysfunction from this imbalanced blood sugar. So by choosing the protein, getting the healthy carbohydrates in there, adding the healthy fat for absorption, you are increasing that satiety. So your blood sugar spike might look like this, but then it doesn't drop off. It's just like a nice stable level throughout the day. So a stable blood sugar pattern leads to stable patterns of just how you interact and behave throughout the day. You won't have this energy slump at 2, 3 in the afternoon. You won't have the mood changes. You'll be able to come down and sleep better at night. So there's all kinds of things that are involved in that. And when you fix those things, again, by protein forward thinking, adding the carbohydrates, making sure you have good fat for the nutrient absorption, what you are doing is calming the system down, you're reducing inflammation, and you're stopping those blood sugar spikes and falls, and you are going to just level out and feel better. That is going to allow your body to lose the fat. It's going to be able to get into the fat stores because now your blood sugar is coming down, your A1C is coming down, your insulin is going to be coming down, and therefore your fat will be able to be released from the cells, and you'll start to change how your body looks and how your body feels. And if you are eating the right amount of protein, you'll be able to build the skeletal muscle, which will actually boost your metabolism and help you be stronger. You're going to look better in your clothes. You're going to feel better in your own skin. And it's just going to be overall better for long-term health. And you're going to be stronger and healthier for it. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about with the protein, the balancing blood sugar, of what it actually helps you to remedy, to help you feel better, to help improve your whole entire life. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. So make sure that you are doing what you need to do the proteins, fats, and carbs when you are eating, every time you eat. And the other thing, try not to eat 5, 6 times a day. Try to eat 3 times a day, maybe 3 times and a snack, but have them in that good composition of proteins, fats, carbs. And then if you want to start a little bit smaller so it doesn't feel so overwhelming, if you're sort of starting from scratch, I would suggest start with 1 meal of the day, a meal that you know that you could work on. A lot of times it's for breakfast. What I would do is start with your breakfast. Make sure you get a few different meals of breakfast with that good composition of proteins, fats, and carbs. And then what I want you to do is go to the next meal. Maybe it's 2 weeks down the road. Maybe it's 2 months down the road. But just get one down pat, one that feels good, that you're doing on a regular basis. I promise you'll start feeling differences in the rest of your day with whatever meal you start with. And then just add to the next one. So the whole idea is to habit stack. Start with what you're doing, improve upon that, and then add more. All right, that's a big thing. Then the last thing that I would invite you to do, and I'm going to put this in the link. There is a link for my 7-day meal plan that's all based on making sure that you have the right proteins, fats, and carbs in it. You can get that downloaded and sent to you and downloaded. Use it as a template and a guideline. So the protein recommendations, for example, that are in there are just general recommendations for everybody. So you need to to take those recommendations that I just mentioned, the 1 gram per pound of lean body weight, and adjust your protein levels accordingly within this guided template. So if, for example, it says to add 3 ounces of chicken, and maybe you need 5 or 6 ounces of chicken to get your protein needs met for that meal, then do that. Just adjust that protein level. The other things can basically stay the same, but just adjust the protein to start with. Okay, so that's in the comments. You should be able to download that meal plan and get yourself started in that direction. And what I'd like you to do is, if you are watching this on replay, or if you have incorporated some of those things I just mentioned, let's talk about that and give feedback, because I can tell you from my own experience, I never had a bad fasting glucose. My levels were always really good. They never checked my A1C. They never checked my insulin because I wasn't of the age that they thought I would need to do that. I didn't have a fasting glucose that was elevated, so it didn't warrant testing. So I had to ask for it myself. I had to get it done myself. Eventually, I got my numbers. And again, my numbers looked pretty good. But what I had was something called reactive hypoglycemia, where when I would eat something, it was like my insulin overreacted and crashed my blood sugar. So I was constantly feeling, I would get nauseous if I had low blood sugar. I would have stomach aches. I would get headaches. Sometimes it was so bad that I would have irritability and maybe even a little rage at sometimes just over stupid things. It's like my mood completely would change. And it was all because my blood sugar actually crashed the other way. So that is not healthy either. Whether it's too high or too low, that's not healthy. That's dysregulation of blood sugar for sure. And so when I started implementing these things, and I changed my breakfast, because my breakfast used to be just something that was quick on my way to work. And it would be like a muffin and probably a sugary coffee of some kind. There was no protein in it. And when I stopped and I spent 5 minutes extra in my kitchen in the morning by, making up some eggs, putting some spinach in it, doing like I don't know, whatever kind of, to make a sandwich, whatever you can do if you're gluten-free or not. I was trying to be gluten-free, so I was getting gluten-free things, which aren't always healthy. So I a little bit don't like to talk about that because I don't want people to think that that's a really healthy recommendation. But you do what you have to do where you're starting. And just by doing that, and I put a little bit of butter on the little English muffins that were gluten-free with that. And I thought that was crazy to add butter to something like that because I was worried that the fat would make me fat because that's what we've been told for so long. And just by that simple making a little egg sandwich for me, instead of doing like a muffin or nothing, sometimes it was nothing, I started feeling better within a couple of weeks. Like it was a marked change in my food or how I was feeling because of that food change, that one simple food change. And it took me probably an extra 5 minutes to get that done. So when people say that's one of the excuses that we use, we don't have time, we're just on the run, we need things on the go, that in of itself is part of the problem. So if you're not willing to change even that, then it's probably going to be hard to fix the problems that you're frustrated with. If you're not going to give yourself the time, you need to give yourself that, invest time into yourself. You're worth that. And it will make a difference in how you're feeling. So make sure that you just do little adjustments, just little changes. And I can almost guarantee that it will help you within a couple weeks' time. You'll know it won't be everything, but you'll feel a difference enough to know that you're like, okay, this is working. What I'm doing is working. That gives you motivation to do the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And it just snowballs into good, healthy changes that will help your overall health. Okay. So that is the chat for today. So take a look at that meal plan. Take a look to see if your levels have been tested. And if they're not, I can help you get those and get that information for your blood sugars and that kind of thing. And I also can help you inside the Fatigue Fix Inner Circle membership, where we have live trainings periodically in it, and you have all kinds of resources to help you out. This is a big one with blood sugar management and getting your ability to lose fat all re-regulated. That's a big part of what's in the program. And you can join anytime. And it's just a monthly investment. And it is well worth it for what you're getting in there. You're getting so much information, and you're getting a ton of support and exclusive discounts to the supplement store and things like that. So if you are interested in that Fatigue Fix Inner Circle membership, I want you to type in the comments, even if you're on replay, type in Fatigue Fix, and I will message you with information how to get started on that journey. It's super simple. All right, have a great day, and thanks for being patient with my technology from the last week. And I'll be back next week with more information. All right, have an awesome day. Thanks. Bye-bye.